It's super cold outside. I thought this was the only place to share this with you. I played basketball my whole life. There are some things that I'm really proud about basketball, and there's some things I regret. But I wanted to share some of the lessons that I learned, or maybe just one really big one. I started playing basketball when I was in 6th grade. I went to a private school. When I was there, I was really good, just naturally super good at the game, and I didn't need to know much, and I was just good at it. Then we moved out into the country, and I tried out for this a little bit more like a traveling team. I made the team. It kicked off one of their players they had played with their whole lives. I made this team, right? And the main point guard on this team was super mean to me, like was a bully, in a lot of, for lack of a better term, a big bully. And she would tell me I didn't know how to play the game. She would berate me. She would make me feel super belittled that I didn't know how to play. I mean, I knew how to play, but I was still just learning. I just, people would tell me, oh, do this, and then I would do that. I didn't know how to run plays. I didn't know how to do drills. I didn't know hardly anything about the game, really. I just could play, or people would tell me what to do, and then I would be able to do it just based on skill. I'm gonna continue this inside. This is better, and my little human is sleeping, so I wanted to be inside. She was just really mean, told me I didn't know how to play the game. Kind of a bully. Every time I would mess up, she would get mad at me about it. It kind of made me not want to shoot the ball, basically. Every time I would shoot and I would miss, she would get mad. If I didn't know how to do something, she would be mad and then kind of bully me into it and be super mean to me in front of all the other girls on the team. This kind of started a cycle of me not wanting to mess up, me not wanting to let the team down. That kind of sparked that when I was in 6th grade, and then it followed me the rest of my life. There were spurts where I would grow confidence, I would do things well, but I think I played really good on defense, and I played really good on offense, like passing the ball and moving the ball, and I was really agile and running the court, really athletic and really fast, and really had lots of high energy. So I was able to play well, and I could jump, and I really could shoot. I was just afraid to make a mistake. Fast forward through high school, I played on varsity and JV, varsity, B squad, all those things. And I was always afraid to mess up. I ended up playing on an elite team in between, like my couple of years before college, where college scouts were looking at me. Again, I was on really hard, like the coaches were really intense, and I was always so afraid to mess up. I never shot that much. I did shoot and I did make baskets, but I was just afraid to mess up. And this is so interesting because then even in college, I was also still afraid subconsciously. Like I think I grew in lots of confidence over the years. I did grow in confidence, and I was actually a pretty good player. I remember my coach in college saying that I would regret not playing, or maybe it was just myself. He wanted me to be an All-American. He wanted me to play to my best ability in college, and I was afraid to play to my best ability, which is so crazy. You only get to play basketball in this level once, high school and college, and you don't get to do it over. You can never go back and play again. And I remember sitting on the court like, if I don't play my hardest, I will regret it down the road. Even if it's 30 years from now, I'll regret it at some point. And I remember that. But there came a point where I just didn't want to play that hard anymore. I kind of lost the spark, I lost the joy, because I was always afraid to mess up, afraid to make a mistake on the court. If I made a mistake when it comes to the plays or defense or whatever, it didn't bother me that much. It bothered me if I took a shot where somebody else could have took a shot, potentially made it, whereas if I took a shot and missed it, I mean, if I made it, great, but if I didn't, it was like the end of the world because of what happened in 6th grade. And so it's so interesting. So this kind of followed me my whole life, and that's how what happened in college, and I never really got over it. There were times where my parents would be like, tell yourself, like I would practice for hours and hours. I mean, you shoot hundreds of shots a day in practice and such, but I remember sitting at the free throw, my parents would always say, tell yourself the ball is going to go in. Say, the ball's going to go in, and then shoot. And I would do that, and the ball would go in. So these were some things that I, was starting to try to go around that deep root, in me. Recently, I was watching The Last Dance. I think that's what it's called, the Michael Jordan documentary. Well, it's about the Bulls, Chicago Bulls. A lot about Michael Jordan as well, mostly. And so, just watching the documentary with my husband, it was so captivating, the whole thing. So interesting, the way that Michael Jordan thought when he played. He just would push harder. When people would tell him he couldn't do it, he would push harder. And there were times where I saw that in myself, but I don't know why I wasn't able to push through, that whole thing, shooting thing. I don't know why. I was watching the documentary on Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, and I was like, man, and I would watch him do all these different, you dribble through, and then you do the jump, hop, and then drop. It's kind of like a drop step, kind of, and then shoot and go up. Or like driving in and just pushing through people and making your way in and just being aggressive. It's so interesting because when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could have done that. And it's not that hard. I was able to do that. It's just in my mind, I didn't want to mess up, which is so stupid, but it's where I was at. I just thought, look how Michael Jordan would play so aggressively. He just went for it. And so these thoughts were all rolling around in my mind, and I was like, man, I could have done that. Why wasn't I able to look past what happened when I was in 6th grade, when I was in high school and in college? And I don't think it was something that I consciously thought. It was now a subconscious. It wasn't like I'm looking back at 6th grade. I don't think I realized where this thought came from until I was out of college and in ministry school, when I realized where this whole thought process came from. This subconscious thought came from back in 6th grade. I just wish I could have looked past it, and was able to overlook that, just like Michael Jordan did. He had a coach tell him he wouldn't even make the team. I mean, everywhere I went, I was able to make the team. I'm also a female, not in a male team, so I feel like male teams are harder to make. But it wasn't there. I wasn't able to overcome that. If I would have known the Lord, perhaps like I did now, I would have maybe overcome that. But then it got me thinking, that's not just with basketball. There's things that have happened in my life after that don't have anything to do with basketball, that really took away from my joy in life, and that really took away from the my faith in the Lord, where doubt creeped in, and where fear crept in, and anxiety, and where I was overthinking who I am, where I didn't like who I was, where I was afraid of who I was, where I was afraid of what other people thought because of certain circumstances that happened in a period of my life. And so I just felt like the Lord was saying, yes, you weren't able, that didn't happen in basketball, but that doesn't have to stop at basketball. Yes, you had that time in basketball and you could have done that, then, but you can still do that in other areas of your life now. Is look past what happened in your life that was maybe traumatic, or maybe, like I said before, I wasn't able, up to this point, I haven't been able to look past. But that doesn't determine things that happened to me, or experiences that were potentially traumatic or detrimental to my mental health, doesn't define who I am. The Lord defines who I am, and the Lord defines who you are. And the same was with basketball. That girl didn't define my basketball career. I could have been whoever I wanted to. I had the athleticism to be whatever, play whatever, however. Do you know what I mean? And I could have developed it. But the thing is, I didn't at the time. But it doesn't stop the opportunities that I have now, where I can overcome those things now, just believing what the Lord says. Like these things that happened to me and what other people said, it doesn't define who I am. I'm not going to stay in that realm. I'm going to overcome that and think and just simply believe what the Lord says. That I'm good, that I'm righteous, and that I've been forgiven, and that my heart is pure, and that my motives are pure, that my desires are pure and holy and good, because I've been forgiven. And so are you. So are you. So, I hope that you're able to take away from this video, and when familiar spirits try to come and try to get you down and remember a thought and a lie from your past about what the enemy says about who you are, I pray that you will remember who God says that you are and throw those things and cast them off, because they're not who you are. Who the Lord tells you and who the Lord says you are is who you are. And so I just hope this encourages you. I love you so much. I'm praying for you. Please subscribe, comment anything you like, and we'll see you in the next video.